Alright, Kothlis, far and away the most requested for a tutorial. It's a fairly complicated level that at lower level seems very random, but unfortunately it's just really hard. So the first thing to note is that initially you can do many different things in this opening section. The only specific requirements are you need to eventually have all the ties cleared, and your wingman will help you with that. And it's in your best interest to start clearing some ground stuff as well. But the most important thing is that you or eventually have all these ties out of the way. So this route that I use is what I do for consistency. I grab those two in this bottom one. Interceptors will eventually chase you, so it's generally in your best interest to get those. You definitely want to get these four, because they take a very awkward flight path that makes them annoying to kill later. And then I pop these two, and then I go into what I would consider like Zone 2, which is all of this area by the ship. And all of these ties, there are several groups over here, just patrol in a circle. This route makes it so that it's minimal downtime in between ones that I hit. I shot the leader first there, but that's okay. And now I'm going to start going after some turrets. These turrets are not required to be removed, but removing them will improve the consistency of Phase 3. Oh, look at me. Look at me messing up in my guide. Will improve the consistency of Phase 3, and particularly if you can get rid of the turbo lasers, the blue and white ones down on the bottom of the ship, the big ones, that can help reduce some lag a bit. So we are going to move to get rid of some of these ground troops. We're not going to remove exactly all of them. These three right here, we're actually going to leave, because those three end up moving up the beach, and when those move up the beach, they are good for improving the consistency of the ground troops in Phase 3, and you can also use as kind of like a little checklist of how many times you've gone around in a circle. They don't actually contribute to the mission requirement of eliminating all of the ground defenses. It's only these ones. These ones actually don't apply there, which is very interesting. You do not have to kill the stormtroopers, but you should. You don't have to fly through here. I was just showing off. And so I'm going to use some of this time to go and kill some of the other turrets. Again, just trying to improve consistency. And your wingmen do a shockingly good job of getting rid of ties. So you'll notice that I left a ton of ties that I haven't killed. And there have been many attempts where at this point, they've already cleared them. There are already no ties left. And that is great. That's just less work for you as the player. And some worst case scenarios, you're going to have to go clean up maybe 4 of them. But if you look at this, there's really not that many left. And it's a pretty smooth job to just go in there and pop the last one. You can see the command cross got rid of the ties icon, which means you're in business. Again, this Phase 1, not that important. What matters is that you meet the minimum requirement of getting rid of the ties, and you want to put yourself in position so that when the level ends, and I recommend using an audio cue for that, just knowing in the music when it's going to stop, then you can be in position to immediately switch to your next craft, because that part actually does matter quite a bit. So I have to say we're setting down. You have a few seconds. You have enough time if you're over by the Star Destroyer at that point to hightail it back over and make it in time. And now we get into the stuff that really does matter. So, feel free to boost here, but you will likely have to brake before you get there. If you go full tilt, you're not going to be able to grab the leg that you want. And the leg that we want is this front left one right here. So if you haven't watched the Hoth video, I'm going to introduce my limb naming system, which is just the Tekken limb naming system, in which the left arm is 1, right arm is 2, left leg is 3, right leg is 4. And a language universal notation system for how to take down these walkers, it really just takes 2 numbers. So in this case, it's a 1-3, meaning you grab this 1 towards 3, so counterclockwise grabbing front left. And doing that will put you in the correct position to spawn in to grab the next one. So the next one's a 3-4. And we're going to do that going around this side. You'll notice I did not boost. If you boost, you are almost certainly going to screw it up. I've done it correctly boosting, but my success rate, I'm not kidding, is probably like 10%. It's, don't boost. It's not worth it. I don't even think it's saving any time. So we're grabbing the back left for 3-4. Don't crash into his head. That would be bad. And if you do both of those correctly and quickly, without any mistakes, then grabbing the third one is trivial. You just fly underneath his head. He'll be shooting up at everything else, and you're good to go. That's it. Don't boost. Don't do anything fancy. Go in there, grab, wrap him up. That's all you gotta do. If you make a mistake on either of the first two sections, or the first two walkers, it may require you to take about a half a lap and then fly underneath his head in order to grab. That's okay. The run is salvageable. It's just not great for an IL. Now, these troops that are on the ground, they're a little bit off camera right here, are your primary concern at this point. You do have to eliminate the ATPTs. You do have to break the hull. But what you really want to focus on is to keep them on camera as much as you can and to be near them. This is going to prevent them from slowing down. And we win the level when they get to right here. What you do doesn't really matter. It's what they do. But if you act appropriately, you can prevent them from slowing down, and that's a big hindrance. You can test this by, if you fly off, just fly off into, this map's gigantic, by the way. If you just fly off, the level takes forever to finish. You want those guys loaded on camera all the time. So on my first pass, I'm going to use some bombs, and I'm going to make my way over towards the hull. And there's one sweet spot. Interestingly, it's actually marked on your radar. But this dark spot right here, that dark spot, which is, again, on your radar, which is really interesting, is the sweet spot. You only need to hit it with 3 bombs and you're good to go.
Right on target. Perfect hit.
So I'm going to burn a few more bombs here, and then I'm going to crash to reload the bombs. You don't have to get everything right now, and generally speaking, you don't want to go too fast. If you try to move too quickly in this level, and it's going to end up slowing you down, as counterintuitive as it is. I send them to retreat. That seems to help. Do not ever have them defend. Don't have them go after the ATPTs. That will make them stop. So I typically do this in just big counterclockwise circles. We don't need to get everything. We just need to get a bit each pass. Come hang out with the troops. After the first one, I'll start popping these cannons. Pop a cannon. Shoot some of the ground troops here. There's these stormtroopers. You actually want to aim below them, because of just the way their hitboxes are, or hurtboxes, I guess. It's aim below them, and that'll work. If you aim right at them, you'll actually shoot over them. You saw that last one. It's a pretty good, clear case of that. Pop a few of these. Swing on by, hang out with the guys. Got the guys on camera. Pop a cannon. Repeat. Shoot some of these ground troops. You'll notice these are nowhere near the shore. We are so okay on ATPT killing. And if we wait a little bit of time, that just means that they're going to come closer to us and they'll be faster to kill. Pop the last cannon. Now they're a little bit closer. I'm just going to go ahead and rest these. That's it. I recommend sending your crew after the ties, just because you're not going to shoot the ties. You're going to babysit these guys, and pulling the ties fire away from these troops. Best case scenario. There was a stormtrooper in there. You heard him yell. And that's it. Keep these guys on camera. Pull some nice circles. I haven't quite worked out the best flight path for this, because they have a kind of an unusual path on the ground where they swing out wide and they stop at a spot and then they keep moving. But some decently wide circles seems to be nice, because you don't want to be too far away, but you don't want to be too close, because if you're too close, then you're going to have to turn more. If you're too far away, then the game might not like that. So that's a part of this that's still open to a bit of optimization, is exact flight path that we need, but it's that's pretty minimal. This run that you're currently watching is, as of today, which is time of recording January 17th, 2025. This is the IL record. This is a 717. Keep it tight.
The reactor's getting more unstable. We've got to hurry.
And then it doesn't matter that I crashed,
Located the data.
because I have a spare life, and I didn't really care. That's it. So good old 717. Happy hunting. That's Kothlis.